Hi, I'm Wendy Gonzalez. I'm a death doula and death educator, and this is the Deducation Project podcast. Let's talk about the hard stuff. One of the most distressing things families witness at the end of life is changes in breathing. I often hear, they were gasping at the end, or they were struggling to breathe. And those reactions make complete sense, because breathing sounds and patterns can be deeply unsettling if you've never heard them before. It can sound like drowning or gasping for air. What's happening is the person is no longer strong enough to swallow or cough to clear the saliva and other secretions from their throat. So what you're hearing is air moving over those secretions. This is known as terminal secretions, but you may have heard it called the death rattle. It is an unnerving sound, but it's not necessarily suffering. Another common breathing pattern near the end of life is called Cheyne-Stokes breathing. This is a natural change that happens as the body begins shutting down. Breathing may become deep and fast for a while, then slow and shallow. And either of these can be followed by a long pause before breathing starts again. This pause can last as long as a minute. And those pauses can be frightening if no one has explained them to you. Many people see those pauses and think their loved one has died, only to see them start breathing again. Another change is open mouth breathing. At the end of life, as muscles relax throughout the body, the muscles that normally keep the mouth closed and support nasal breathing also relax. Because of that, the jaw falls open. This is not by itself a sign of distress or air hunger. It is a physical change that happens as muscle tone decreases and the body shuts down. Families sometimes interpret this as someone struggling for air, but it is simply the body relaxing into the dying process. An important thing to understand here is this. When someone is receiving appropriate comfort care, symptoms like actual air hunger are managed with medications such as morphine. So what you're witnessing at the very end is not always uncontrolled distress. It's the body's natural shutdown process, layered with normal changes in breathing, muscle relaxation, and secretion buildup. The difficult reality is that dying does not always look the way people expect it to. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it's loud and irregular. Sometimes it sounds strange or even distressing if you don't know what you're hearing. But understanding what is happening can change everything about how those moments are experienced. Fear tends to fill the gaps when there is no explanation. Learning about these things doesn't take away the sadness of losing someone, but it can take away some of the things that are startling. So if you've ever sat with someone who was dying and wondered whether they were suffering because of the way they were breathing, I want you to hear this. What you witnessed was a body laboring out of this world, not a person in distress. And knowing the difference can sometimes bring a little more peace into one of the hardest moments we ever face. Thanks for listening. This is the Deducation Project. I'll see you next time.